To New York State Assemblyman Harvey Weisenberg of Long Beach, the topic of special education hits really close to home for him. He has a child with special needs.
This is Ricky, my wife Ellen, and myself. God blessed me and gave me somebody who I have so much happiness from, and I've learned so much about what life is all about and humanity, that anybody, any family that has a child with a disability, I know how difficult the challenge is, but I also want everybody to know the joy and happiness we get from our children.
Here they are pictured on the campaign trail with Governor Andrew Cuomo. But in the governor's first proposed state budget, he has suggested eliminating the direct funding to the 11 4201 special needs schools statewide. The governor argues this is simply a change in the way the schools are paid for by shifting the responsibility of tuition reimbursement from the state to the local school districts. But opponents say it is more likely that the school districts, already facing a tough financial climate, will instead keep the special needs students within their home districts and not send them to the 4201 schools. 3 Long Island 4201 schools will be affected, including Henry Viscardi School at Abilities in Albertson, Cleary School for the Deaf in Nesconset, and Millneck Manor School for the Deaf in Millneck. Weisenberg recently spoke at a rally in Albany featuring all 11 4201 schools. He says the legislature cannot let these proposed cuts to the funding go through.
He proposes a budget. My job is to speak in opposition or support. Some things I support, some I don't. I'll be very verbal, and I'm going to be in total opposition because of the consequences of what these cuts will do. People in government have an obligation and a responsibility to provide the resources to educate and develop the potential of every human being. My message to Governor Cuomo and to all of the commissioners that are appointed to special education and mental health, and education, I have to make them aware of the consequences. That when you cut these programs, you're cutting the ability of children and families to have the necessities to be able to develop to their fullest potential. And you have to focus on what our kids can do, not what they can't do. So that's a job that I have, but you know what? That's why I ran for office. That's why I'm still in office, because my priorities are about people, not politics, power, and money, but the needs of people. And the 4201 schools and the miracles that they perform in giving dignity and respect to our student body and to our families is amazing, and they have to be supported. So I don't care what anybody tells me about a line in the sand and money, power and money and politics taking over government. That is not going to happen as long as I'm president. As best that I can advocate for the people that need it the most. Somebody upstate years ago said, "You're the voice of those who have no voice." And it really is an obligation and a responsibility, but something that I take very dear to my heart. I believe it was Oprah that did a survey about the people who were happiest in our society and what their profession was. Guess what number one was? Special ed teacher. Now, doesn't that send a message? I mean, I loved my staff, my teaching staff, and the people that, the parents, the real heroes of our society who advocate for their children and give unconditional love to children that need all the support they can to develop to their fullest potential. But that's what this is really all about. The mentality is that we have a $10 billion deficit and everybody has to share the pain. But I don't feel that way. I mean, if we're going to have pain, let it be not to the most vulnerable population in our society. Do these people who don't have a family member ever really understand the difficulties of existing in society and providing the resources that are necessary, the support groups that are necessary to enhance and enlighten a person with a disability to develop to their potential?
While many in the state legislature say they support restoring the funding in the budget for the 4201 schools, time is running out to adopt the budget, and Weisenberg says there's no guarantee it will be restored.
The governor is not doing this. The legislature has to pass that budget. He, the governor, the executive, can pass his budget by giving message of necessities and legislation there, but it'll never get my vote for this. I gave my word and my commitment. I'll do everything I possibly can to get the restorations that are necessary. I don't know where to get them from. That's why they have these high-priced guys up there who are supposed to have the answers. The answers really are that they have to listen to the people. And I know legislators, because we send letters to our speaker and we send letters to people saying that we support restorations for different subjects. but this is number one on my list.
Weisenberg says the most important thing the community can do to support the 4201 schools is to contact their local state legislators and ask them to restore the funding to the budget.
You have to have your voice heard. If you want to advocate for a cause, then you have to become involved. You call your legislator and you say, this is something we must have. And I hope that people in government today, people that I do know, are sensitive to the needs of their people. It's not a question of politics taking over government anymore. It's a question of doing what's right. And that's what your obligation and responsibility is. Not for a political party, but for the people.
In Long Beach, Chris Calora reporting.